Hey everybody, this is Brent from The Second Look. Tonight I have the pleasure of speaking with DeOndria Michelle. DeOndria, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm very excited to chat with you. Ever since I saw your stuff on TikTok, I've been very fascinated, curious, like who is this person? What is she doing? I know there's a good story here behind this material, based on, I guess, my impression, from your work, from your like the description of your videos as you're
Hmm.
presenting them. It seems like that you are a self-taught, just experimenting on your own
Yeah,
cinematographer,
yeah,
learning from the ground up, and that to me is amazing. That's what I am really interested in, because I think I guess in today, with the technology we have, with the stuff that you can is now way more affordable than it was 50 years ago, let's say,
correct.
you can be a cinematographer if you just
You
put
can.
just put the work in, and that's clearly what you're doing. So, am I wrong? Is this accurate?
You know what? I honestly would say it takes more. I think that people have put like a cap on what cinematography actually is.
Hmm.
Most people will say, oh, it's the lighting or it's the visuals. In my personal opinion, it's neither. I think cinematography is just based on feelings.
Hmm.
What you display to your audience and art is subjective. Whatever feeling you are pushing out, that is cinematography within itself. I think a lot of people like the word cinematography. They just don't really understand the meaning of
Hmm.
cinematography. Most people know, hey, you gotta shoot on the shadow side and all that. That's general. But what about making, you know, artificial light look natural? Do you use a bounce card? Do you use a negative field? Do you know what shallow depth of field is? I think a lot of people lose all of that because of how generalized social media has made
Hmm.
cinematography.
Hmm. Yeah, kind of limited, kind of narrow, kind of maybe superficial in just
Absolutely.
like a it looks pretty, but
Yeah,
that's all it is.
correct. Correct.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate how much how much thought you're putting into it, because that yeah, I think unless your whole goal is to make like pretty images and
Correct.
stock footage for people
Correct.
to buy and use however they want, like if you're trying to tell a story, you need to know what the story is and
Correct.
what you're trying to say. Okay, fantastic. So let's go back.
Mm.
What what was the thing that set you on this path?
Honestly, and I always say this sounds very cliche, but honestly, it was God. I started off singing. Singing was my first love. I was an artist, I was a writer. I worked with some pretty famous people, but I knew that my heart wasn't in it. I couldn't go, I would say 24 to 48 hours just sitting in the studio. I got tired, I got irritated,
Mm,
and I knew that it wasn't for me. And so with me building my relationship with God, I used to ask him like, hey, give me direction, COVID hit.
mm,
I had a dream and I went out, I bought a camera and I started doing everything except filmmaking, believe it or not. I was doing skits, I was streaming, I was doing anything to get popular,
okay.
and it didn't work out that way. And I wish I had actually followed direction and went for filmmaking because I probably would be further than what I am now. But yeah, that's what started me off was a prophetic dream that I had. And I went out and bought a camera, never looked back.
That's fantastic. So this was, can you tell me how long ago this was? Like how long you been?
This was 2018.
Okay.
This was 2018, like right before, I would say like a few months before COVID.
Okay.
Before COVID like took over and swarmed and it was in talks of conversations, wear your mask and all that stuff. And then
Uh,
A few months before everything shut down, I had that dream. I bought me a camera. Started doing all this stuff to try to get popular on social media. Obviously, it didn't work. So,
That's
yeah,
tough. No, it's tough.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, sounds like, well, maybe you tell me. Maybe you were trying certain things, but then the cinematography thing is what really clicked, because for you it's clicking for you and
Hmm.
your popularity and how it's working now, and maybe some of the stuff that you were trying before
Just didn't work out.
yeah, it was wasn't really the thing.
Yeah, I was doing skits and podcasting. I was streaming, gaming, streaming, and I was like, yeah, nothing is working, so I'm
Yeah,
out.
yeah, okay. And then did you can I guess, well, I guess in the middle of COVID you're not thinking film school, right?
No, not at all. I started watching YouTube, which I think is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
For anybody who's going to watch this,
Mhm.
if you are just starting out, don't watch YouTube. The first thing that's going to happen is you are going to be wrapped in, let me go get this piece of gear, let me go get this piece of gear. And it's
Mm,
not about the gear.
mm,
It's about, think about an artist. When an artist first starts out, he or she has crayons and a piece of paper. Whatever they choose to draw,
mm,
that is considered the art. Somebody finds it a masterpiece. Even if they scribble, it's a masterpiece. So you're going to get swooped into the gear aspect with all these influencers. The second thing is you're going to crash because you're going to compare yourself to every single person who has more experience, who has more likes, who has more subscribers, who has more videos, who has more knowledge. You're going to get swept into that space and it's going to kill the um the momentum you have to be that.
mm,
You're going to compare yourself to those people and that's going to kill your dream in a sense.
mm.
Go
Okay.
get a book. I suggest you go get a book. I literally would tell somebody just go get a book. Go get a cinematography book, you know, try lighting, they have books where you can try different lighting setups and stuff like that. There's a book that I'm currently reading, and I forget the guy's name, but it's called Lighting for Cinematography. Extremely informative, gives you exercises and stuff like that. He doesn't necessarily you know, pinpoint where to put certain stuff, but he gives you the tools that you need to figure it out on your own.
Mhm,
So I would tell people, if you want to learn, simply go get a book. Do not go to YouTube.
mm. Yeah, yeah, I think that's good advice. I was just thinking, like, people, let's say before YouTube,
Hmm.
people in film school, all you're seeing obviously movies and TV, at that level, and
Absolutely.
it's inspiring without being maybe detrimental, like you're saying.
Absolutely.
But all you have then there is your peers are in your class, and it feels maybe you're, even though maybe there's a star student
Correct.
killing, that's just one person, and you have the entire internet against you,
Correct.
who you have at that level, at that same kind of level. And yeah, I can see how that would be disheartening. And yeah, that's good advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the book, I mean, yeah, there's books, there are resources that you would have gotten in film school that are just still available to you. You just have
Yes.
to pursue them.
You have to go and pursue them. I've heard so many people say, I've even had somebody reach out to me who actually went to film school asking me for how to do lighting setups. Um, I think that in film school, they teach you like the history of film. They don't necessarily show you every aspect of filmmaking. And even if they do, it's mostly you're going to learn like camera work, which is not a bad thing to learn. But say you're a one man band like myself. I'm extremely solo. I have no assistance. Nobody here is helping me. And so when you have to figure certain things out, want to know every aspect of filmmaking. Like, I want to know everything so that when I don't say if, I say when, because the Bible tells you, speak of things as though they were. When I get on a professional set and they say, hey, we want you to go gaffer. We want you to be the first AD. We want you to be the cinematographer for today. Today we want you to be the director. Today we want you to be, first camera. We want you to be focus puller. I want to be able to excel in those positions because sometimes you only have that first impression. And if you have no clue what you're doing, you're pretty much out. So I would say learn every aspect, not just camera movements and all that stuff, because that's what's going to give your content, your videos, your short films, the extra oomph, that it needs
Right.
to propel.
Yeah. No, that's good advice too. Right. There's a lot of jobs on set, and if you need to not only know your job, you need to know what everyone else is doing, so that
Correct.
maybe they need help, like you're saying. Maybe what they're doing, has an impact on what you're doing, and you need to communicate. You need to really be
Hmm.
able to say, "Hey, we can't move that here because what I'm doing over here," and like you need to know, yeah, all those
You have
things.
to know what you're looking at. You have to be informative. You have to be objective. You have to be in a space where you specifically know, here's what I'm looking at. Here's the issue. I can fix it.
Right. Yeah. The fixer, right? Like the person
Correct.
who has the
Correct.
right answer when they have the question, and you're there and you raise your hand, like that's that's some serious points you would earn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I mean, you're before 2018, were
Hmm.
you're a singer, but any interest in the visual arts, or it just
I
kind of
was believe it or not, I'm a huge movie buff.
okay.
Like, any DVD that you can name, I probably own it.
Hmm,
We grew up in a rough neighborhood. Mom didn't really let us out. She's like, "Hey, you got video games, you got movies, and you got a TV in every room.
yeah,
Do something with yourself." And so I was a big movie buff.
okay.
Movies was everything. So I never really thought like, "Oh, I'm going to be a director. I'm going to be a cinematographer." I never, no, not before then. No.
But all of that time spent watching, rewatching, appreciating, having that,
Correct. Correct.
then you tap into that when once you start learning, once you start kind of piecing it all together, you have that wealth of like a reservoir of inspiration. And
Correct.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I think watching movies, it's underrated as a pursuit, for filmmakers. It sounds kind of
Absolutely.
obvious. It's it's not. It shouldn't be. Well, there's a time and a place, right? You watch the movie for the first time, turn your brain off. You watch
Correct.
the movie the second time, now turn your brain on. Now you're absorbing it. There's a way to engage, in two different modes. But I think people don't do that second one enough. So now you're probably watching movies with this knowledge base. Now you're really putting the pieces together.
Yeah. People that I used to, admire, like from my hometown, I used to admire them because I felt like they were doing it big. Their stuff was, before I knew what I knew, I would be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get my movie on Tubi. And I, can't wait for millions of people to see my little short films. And then I started to gain knowledge. And when I go back to watch them, I'm like, oh my God, the sound quality is terrible. The lighting, they turned on just the ceiling lights, no artificial lighting. And I'm like, I started watching it as a filmmaker and not not a patron of the movie, or, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I'm picking it apart and I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Okay, so who are your heroes? Who are the people that you look up to now?
Viola Davis is one. And I look up to her because she's EGOTed already, which is something that I aspire to do, is to EGOT for sure. It's one of my goals. Angela Bassett is one. Loretta Devine. In the male category, I gotta go with my guy Spike Lee, man. I gotta give it to him. He paved the way for African American films in a way that no one else has. And so to me personally, like, I don't see a lot of African American women in the cinematography space. There is not one that I can name off the top of
No,
my head, or,
right.
even when you Google it, it pulls up directors. There are no black women in the cinematography space. There are women in that space that I definitely look up to, but I would want to propel to one of those heroes.
Yeah, for sure. No, those are great kind of beacons for you, for anybody. And I see what you mean. The female DP is a rare
Rare.
thing today. It's less rare, but like inching to, progress is slow,
Hmm.
but I feel like it is changing. There are some good ones out there that are making waves.
Yeah, I
And
know, like Brittany, I don't know her last name, but her first name is Brittany. She works with I don't know if you know a lot of the YouTube cinematographers, or, but Brady Bassett. She works closely with him, and the famous cinematographer Shane works with them. But even like, no disrespect, no shade, even like with her YouTube stuff, I kind of like veer off because she's not necessarily teaching you
mm,
how to be a cinematographer. She's more into like gear and stuff like that. And that's not where my head is. Like, I can't sit and watch somebody talk about equipment.
right, right.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and you're right. And going back to your earlier point, there's two halves. There's a technical side, there's a
Mhm.
creative side, and you need both. And the technical side is always changing. There's always the new thing, a new shiny toy that's kind of a lure that kind of pulls you away from
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
you
for sure.
maybe what you should be learning about. I like your analogy about the crayons because yeah, whatever the tools shouldn't matter.
No, not at all.
It's what's in here.
I've seen movies that look like they were shot on a potato, but because of the story,
Hmm.
I watch it again. I
Hmm.
watch it over anything that's out today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always reference there are two movies that I can name off the top of my head that look like they were shot on a potato. The cinematography wasn't the best, but the damn story was everything. And I always tell people, if you can find these two movies and sit down and literally watch them and like really engage, you can't beat them. These movies can compete with,
Right.
stuff that's out today.
Right. Well, now I'm curious. What are these movies?
So the first movie is called Ice Grill. It's called Ice Grill. And I think the writer and the director actually is deceased, but that movie is so good. The story behind it is everything. And then the second one would be Just Another Girl on the IRT. Like I said, both movies look like they've been shot on a potato, but the story behind it is so engaging that you would watch it a million times before you ever picked anything that's out 2024, 2025.
Yeah. Yep. And what's really kind of ironic is that the the cleanliness of the equipment, the lenses, the sensors, all the bright and shiny new toys
Hmm.
are too clean, and then people are putting
People
filters.
want the dirty, gritty look.
Yeah, they put the film grain on anyways. So if you just anyone, like you're saying, anyone who's thinking about getting into it and feeling like they have to get the biggest, the greatest, the newest,
Don't do
just
it.
just realize you're gonna buy, go to the thrift store, buy that used camera, because that's the look people are going for anyways. You don't have to spend 50k to buy the camera
Correct.
to just de-age the film in
In
after.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna de-age it anyway because that's the film look. Personally, in my opinion, I even though I have a newer camera, I also still have my older camera that I will resort to because I have people who will reach out to me like, hey, what camera are you using? I got this camera. Do you think I can get the same images? And personally, I think you can. I just recently posted a video on TikTok with the Canon Rebel T8i at 4K, and that video can compete with these, videos that's out now. So I tell people you know, it's not about the paint, it's about the painter.
Hmm.
What can you do with that tool in your hand? Because anybody can draw a line, but can you draw an official circle?
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to that people don't understand is like you draw an official circle and nothing has to be perfect.
Hmm. Right.
Nothing has to be perfect. I
Yeah.
think that's what we see on YouTube is that, oh my God, it looks perfect. I have to get that look. I have to achieve that. And I fell into that. I'll admit I fell into that at one point, but now I have a different palette
Yeah.
on what I consume.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you're walk me through, like, I guess your process.
Mhm.
You're it seems like you're at home, you have an idea. I mean, just one what I saw recently that I was thought was awesome was this water bottle commercial that made the water bottle look absolutely gorgeous, like the sexiest water bottle I've ever seen.
Thank
So you
you.
just have an idea, like, okay, I wanna try this technique, or I learned about this thing and now I want to try it. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. So, I always tell people and they think that they find it so strange. I don't do pre-production. If I am sitting down and I just have an idea to get up and try something, I'm going to get up and try something. And that's my process. If I like it, I'm going to post it. If I don't like it, I'm going to try it again the next day or in the next hour or in the next few minutes. I try my hand at a bunch of different things. And so with the product production that I've been doing lately, it started with a bag of Flaming Hots. Believe it or not, I was at home and I'm like, I haven't recorded nothing in forever. And I'm putting up groceries that had just been delivered and
Hmm.
open up the window, and from the corner of my eye, I see the sun beaming on that bag of Flaming Hots. And I'm like, I can do something with this. So that's what sparked, my product production phase where, if I like something, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, when inspiration strikes, you have to pursue it. You have to follow it. Like, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, as a cinematographer, an image maker,
Hmm.
you should be kind of always looking, right?
Absolutely.
Always keep your eyes open for what's around you, what's the light doing, especially, and like this scenario here, and it's like suddenly, oh, I've got an idea, to now I have a direction, something to attempt.
Absolutely. I feel like, on social media, you can have an idea and if you sit on it, wait a couple of months. You're going to see somebody post that
Mm,
because you didn't post it,
mm,
because you didn't record it. And I think that that's something that I don't want to happen to me just because I have a goal. And it's certainly not, a social media goal anymore. I'm not, I would love for my page to blow up. I would love it. However, I've been struggling in that department, and that's okay. But it's tough when you are trying to reach out to certain companies and certain brands, and they ignore you because you don't have 6,000 likes. You don't have 6,000 followers. You don't have, you know, trust me, I've pleaded my case with these companies over and over again, like, hey, you guys need to start working with the smaller guys because people are going to listen to the ones that are at the bottom, not the ones that are at the top.
Hmm.
So, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think you, and admirably so, but you've chosen a very direct path, but
Hmm.
it's just you, and that can be very difficult.
Absolutely.
It's in a business where you have to know somebody. You have to
Yeah,
make connections. You have to kind of carry each other up.
correct,
Um,
correct. And nobody wants to do that. Nobody, unless okay, personally, in my experiences, the people that I have tried to network with, nothing comes of it. There's always like, let me say this politically correct. In the African American community, we have an issue with being crabs in a barrel. We never want to see somebody doing better than us. So if I'm up here and you down there and you need me to just pick you up for somebody to see you, I'm not gonna pick you up.
mm,
So
mm,
that's the issue I'm facing right now.
mm,
Is that the people that I have tried my best to network with and reach out to and all that, nothing comes of it. And don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but I've come to a place where I'm just like, hey, it is what it is.
yeah.
Just keep creating, somebody gonna see something.
I mean, honestly, I was just gonna say, like, imagine you trying to do this 20, 30 years ago,
Mhm. Mhm.
when there's no outlet for you to
Mhm.
share this stuff, and you would be very difficult. I mean, I think now you make one flaming hot spec ad or a water bottle one that I fell in love with, and like that's it, like, and you have it, people share it, and it just spreads. I think you're in a good spot, and I think it's gonna happen for you for sure.
I
Um,
receive that. I receive
yeah,
that.
is okay. Can I ask, like, where you are geographically? Like, what's your
Unfortunately, I am in a small hick town of Hobbs, New Mexico. Um, I'm originally from Chicago, and I'm doing my best to try to get back there.
okay?
But I am having an issue finding employment, and I'm not gonna leave my home, and I don't have employment back home.
I
So
see. Now, New Mexico is, yeah, uh, has some sort of industry, right? I think
in Albuquerque, which is
Albuquerque.
4 hours away, and it's the Netflix compound
Right,
is in Albuquerque.
right.
Trust me, I've did my homework. I've tried. I've
Yeah.
applied there too. I even know a couple of guys that have worked, there. And like I say, people will talk a good game, but
Mm,
nothing comes of it.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
because it only takes for a person to, speak your name in a room that you haven't walked into yet.
Right,
It only takes.
right, right. Okay, so the product thing kind of your entry point? Is that, or is that where you're headed, do you think? And, like, is that how you wanna
You
get
know
in?
what? To be honest with you, Brent, I know. Right now because I don't have a team and nobody wants to continue to watch a short film with just one person. I feel like the product production could be the entry
Yeah,
point for
yeah,
me. Just because I don't like I've tried to network here too, but nothing comes of it.
Mhm.
you know. So I feel like the product production could be
Yeah,
my entry point into a phase of, doing commercials and stuff like that, which I wouldn't have a problem with because that's a stepping stone, into a bigger platform.
sure. No, absolutely, and I think I mean, I've never done it, I've never tried it, but
Hmm.
I know I've seen people making spec commercials and that those things go viral, for their
Yeah,
own
they
reason,
catapult them. Yeah, for sure.
and so it's a completely viable avenue, and uh, I I can see you heading in that direction easily. So, as opposed to short films and
Hmm.
festivals and, taking that route, which most people take for I guess obvious reasons, but it's not the only option. I think that's I guess I just wanted to highlight that as a thing for people, like what you're
Absolutely.
doing has the potential, maybe even I don't know. I guess I don't want to speak when I don't know exactly the ins and outs, but seems like almost an easier route because
Hmm.
I think it seems like less people are trying that. Most people are trying the short film thing and the proof of concept thing,
Hmm.
but that this is a completely viable option. So yeah.
Yeah, I think because of like, everything that's going on and been going on ever since COVID, even with, doing product productions, personally, I would say companies will, cause I've had a couple of people, from, different products that I've done, they'll comment, this is awesome. I try to, engage with them,
Yeah.
like, hey, we can work together,
Yeah.
but again, nothing ever comes of it. And I know it's because of the low socials. Now, if I had, the 10,000, 15,000, then they would be right on the money. But I
Totally.
think what they miss out on, these companies, what they're missing is that the moment somebody gets bold enough to actually work with someone who has less than 1,000 followers or who has less than, 1,000 views or whatnot. The moment they do that, it's going to catapult that item because people are going to be like, wait a minute, this company works with the small guys too?
Mhm. Mhm.
I know it's got to be real now,
Right. Right.
because the influencers now can tell you anything
Yeah.
because they're paid to tell you anything.
Right.
But imagine the small guy who wants to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Totally. That's so I mean, I guess if you were an on-camera personality and
Mhm.
you had that social media following, I guess
Mhm.
it makes more sense to me that, "Oh, we're gonna go with a person with 1,000,000 followers,"
Absolutely.
but I don't make the connection between someone like you and
Mhm.
someone who would be on camera, like, I don't understand what your social media has anything to do with the quality of your work, you know?
Listen, if I showed you the amount of emails that I have gotten, that I've reached out to every single company
Mhm.
that you can think of that does lighting, that does, lens gear, I've reached out. Oh, we're looking for somebody who has 6,000 plus followers, 6,000 plus views, or they'll give you some, off-putting story. Oh, we're leaning more towards photographers at an anamorphic company, an anamorphic lens. I won't say the name because they may reach out to me.
Yeah, you wanna
uh,
burn that bridge.
correct. Right, right, right. I had a company who does anamorphic lenses, very popular anamorphic lenses, tell me that they're gearing their lenses towards photographers. And it crushed my spirit because I'm like, you don't have to lie, just say no. You know? And so what I did, because I'm not a hater and I like to see people moving forward, I gave them three names of people who do photography that I follow. And I didn't tell those people that I did that. I'm not going to mention them here now, but I gave them three names that they should reach out to because they're gearing their gear towards photography. So I don't think I don't think that they are, but hey,
Yeah, right.
who am I?
That's tough. That's tough.
Mm,
Well, okay. Assuming assuming you get in,
mhm.
where do you wanna go? What's like the 10 years from now, it all happened, where were you?
10 years from now, when somebody puts in Google black female cinematographer,
Mhm.
I want DeOndria Michelle to be at the top of that list. Whatever that encompasses under that, that's where my 10 years are in addition to.
Right. Okay. Well, so that's probably features.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. When people Google black, because if you Google now, they're going to give you directors, they're going to give you people who've directed movies, and then you look, you like, she's not a cinematographer. What are we doing?
Right. No, I mean, that spot is vacant right now.
Absolutely. And that's exactly, in 10 years, I hope to have one of the acronyms to EGOT, if not two or three. So yeah, those are when I got my blinders on, that's 10 years for me.
Okay.
At least one of those acronyms. And when somebody types in Google,
Mhm.
I want to be there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm rooting for you, and I want,
Appreciate you.
yeah, I want, all the best for you, because I think there's something to be said about people who take the time and the energy and the focus that and are self-made. Like, that's the thing that I really appreciate about your story, is that this is all you.
Yeah.
Nobody handed you anything, and you are making this happen for yourself.
I gotta give credit to God always. I gotta give credit to God because without him, I probably wouldn't have that talent. So he's been the one helping me. That's what I'll
Yeah.
say. Hey, he's been my,
He's your
you
first
know,
AC.
correct, correct.
That's fantastic. Well, yeah, DeAndrea, thank you so much for your time and your energy.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for people to see this and to hear your story. I'm gonna be in the on the side cheering for you as you make it that way up to Google.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you reaching out, and even, thinking of me enough. I thank God for this. This is a small win for me, and I've been appreciating the small wins. Also want to throw out there that recently I got chosen to be a judge at a big film festival where I had to view 12 films, and I actually watched 12 short films in a day. And I'm super excited about that. But yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you for hearing my story. And, I appreciate you being one of my supporters as well. And I support you and what you're doing and
Thank you.
how you are looking for the underdogs.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you're
Yeah.
shining lights on people who are, you know, not under the spotlight.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Absolutely. That's the whole idea. I mean, when I start, looking around at TikTok and stuff, and wanting to meet people, and
Hmm.
kind of build this community around the channel and everything, and I'm looking at all the so many people that are just like us,
Yeah. Yeah, for
starting from
sure.
scratch, brick by brick, and I'm very happy to meet all of you. But yeah, just again, one more thing is, like, the only reason the only reason why we're talking right now is that
Hmm.
you're making stuff that's really good, that you're putting out there, that people are seeing. And I think, if me seeing it and us having this conversation is in the indication, is that what you're doing is working, and
I
that
appreciate you.
and that
Appreciate that.
you are succeeding. You are succeeding. So
I appreciate it.
I hope all the best, and for that to continue.
Same for you, brother. Same for you. I appreciate you. And I think that what you're doing is amazing. Like I said, you are shining light on those who don't feel appreciated with all the work that goes into, doing these videos and all that stuff, like, people don't feel appreciated. And I think that
Yeah.
this type of work that you are doing shows that appreciation for them.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
Good. I'm glad because that's my goal.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much again. Have a good rest of your night. I will be in touch.
Absolutely, sir. You do the same. Thank
All
you.
right.
God bless.
Bye bye.